name is Tika Shimhu. I'm a postgraduate philosophy student. I've been in the program for about 2 years now, but I'm a philosophy student since 2004. We're going to get into the meat of the matter. Since we are already pressed for time, I'm going to ask our head of department, Dr. Vivek Mills-White, to come and give the official welcome.
Chair, Ms. Tika Shimhu, Dr. Rotimi Omoshulu, Coordinator of the Philosophy Section, esteemed guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen all, good morning. Good morning. I am deeply honored to welcome all of you here today as the department I lead, the Department of Language, Linguistics, and Philosophy in the Faculty of Humanities and Education at the University of the West Indies, MONA, joins in global celebrations of the anniversary of the birth of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. We are delighted to have you here as simultaneously we mark another United Nations declared International Day of Nonviolence this October 2, 2024. Please help me welcome especially Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Chargé d'Affaires of the High Commission of India in Jamaica, and the other members of his entourage, Professor Ibrahim Ajaguna, Deputy President of the Caribbean Maritime University, and members of the Indian Cultural Society in Jamaica. Thank you all for partnering with the Department of Language, Linguistics, and Philosophy as we reflect on the lasting legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, an important member of the Indian independence movement and champion of the ideals of social justice and equality and the principles of peace and nonviolence. Jamaica and other countries can learn much from the philosophy and life of this inspirational figure. His teachings resonate in the world today as the pursuit of peace remains essential for overcoming modern challenges. Indeed, we cannot help but think of Gandhi's principles as we contemplate protracted wars and recent strife in the Congo, Sudan, Ukraine, Palestine, Haiti, and even in Jamaica, where one may be fearful to hold or to participate in events to honor the deceased these days, because one could be shot up. By commemorating today, October 2, we honor Gandhi's legacy and reinforce the view that peace is a guiding force for building a better future for everyone. But our celebration of Gandhi Jayanti 2024 is also a reminder of our shared responsibility in achieving a better present and a sustainable future. Gandhi encouraged us, be the change that we wish to see in the world. In this profound remark, Gandhi gave not only a charge, but also the reassurance that each of us has the power to make a difference, to stand up for what is right, and to contribute to more just, more compassionate societies, and ultimately a more peaceful world. Of course, you will hear more about Gandhi's philosophy in our Gandhi Day lecture entitled The Paradox of Peace and Violence in the Life of Mahatma Gandhi, to be delivered by Dr. Omoshulu. So welcome again, everyone. Profit from the lecture, continue to be inspired by Gandhi's life and work, and have a good, happy Gandhi Jayanti 2024.
Thank you, HOD. I am not seeing the Dean, who is slated to bring greetings. So let's get our greetings from Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Charge d'Affaires, High Commission of India.
Good morning, all. We all are here to celebrate the 155th birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation for India. I feel privileged to be the guest of honor at this important event. At the outset, I would like to thank and congratulate Dr. Vivet Milson White, Head of Department, for their continued efforts in organizing and celebrating Gandhi and his philosophies. Thanks to Dr. Rotimi Omasulu, Coordinator of Philosophy Section, for excellent coordination with and support to the High Commission. I also thank the Indian Cultural Society in Jamaica to have been a part of the celebrations for years and working closely with the High Commission of India. Thanks, Priyaji and her team. When we speak about Mahatma Gandhi, we think of his ideology, often referred to as Gandhian philosophy, its efficiency, its impact on society, and moreover on mankind. His philosophy is deep-rooted in principles of non-violence, what is called ahimsa, truth, that is satya, and self-rule or self-sufficiency, that is Swaraj. His beliefs combined a moral commitment to non-violence and with practical strategies for political and social change. While our learned speaker, Dr. Omasulu, will be enlightening us with more details about the Gandhian philosophy, which the world has recognized at length, I would just touch upon some of the basic ideas in it. So the first one is the non-violence, what is called ahimsa. It was Gandhi's central or main approach to social and political activism, which he considered an expression of love and compassion. He believed that true change could be achieved without harming others, using non-violent resistance or satyagraha. Satyagraha is, it's called Satya Ke Liye Agra, so it's kind of insistence for peace, insistence for truth, insistence for right, which involved peaceful protest and civil disobedience against injustice. The next is truth, that is called Satya. It doesn't mean just honesty in words, but Gandhian philosophy in this regard is to live in accordance with one's true principles. Truth, as Gandhi saw it, was intertwined with non-violence, and pursuing truth meant striving for a just and harmonious society. Next is Swaraj. Gandhi believed in Swaraj not only as a tool for political independence for India, but also to develop individual autonomy. He emphasized on the need for communities to become self-sufficient. This philosophy extended to his promotion of local economies and cottage industries, such as spinning of khadi. Khadi is hand-woven cloth, to foster self-reliance and economic development. Gandhi had a vision for a society based on the concept of Sarvodaya, which means universal upliftment or welfare of all. He rejected extreme wealth inequality and advocated for a more equitable distribution of resources rooted in simplicity and voluntary limits on personal consumption. Gandhi's ideology was deeply spiritual and religious. He believed in the essential unity of all religions and held that each individual could pursue a spiritual path according to their own faith. His concept of God was inclusive and universal, which guided his emphasis on tolerance, respect, and interfaith harmony. Everyone in India knows about his love for the prayer, or you can say bhajan, Ishwar Allah Tero Naam, Sabko Sammati De Bhagwan, which refers to a prayer to the God to enable everyone understand that God is one. Simple living and high thinking has been India's age-old concept being preached by various saints and great leaders. Gandhi also advocated for living a simple life with minimal needs, encouraging people to avoid materialism and consumerism. He himself lived very simply, believing that happiness comes from detachment from material possessions and a focus on serving others. And that is very much true in the current times also. Whenever we have some, for example, mobile, we always regret, oh, we should be, just waiting for a little while and we could get a latest version, more latest version. So materialism like that, you are never satisfied. So we may understand that Gandhi's ideology was much more than the sheer strategy for getting political independence for India. It was indeed a moral framework that sought to bring about social and individual transformation. His ideas influenced movements for civil rights, social justice, and freedom across the world. Before conclude, I intend to read one of his famous quotes, as Dr. White has also mentioned. Our greatest abilities as humans is not to change the world, but to change ourselves. Again, wishing all of us a peaceful Gandhi Jayanti. May we all strive to be the change we want to see in the world and follow the path of righteousness, truth, and non-violence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Now is the most entertaining part of the program, I must say. I'm a bit disappointed that we won't be having my favorite segment where the Indians would come and grace us with their lovely singing. Unfortunately, we won't be having that this year. But we're going to have our guest speaker who would come and try to top that. But before he comes, we're going to ask Miss Jodie Parr to come and introduce him.
Good morning. Okay. It brings me great pleasure to do the introduction today because he's one of my favorite lecturers. He influenced me a lot to love philosophy as much as I do now. So, for the great Dr. Rotimi Omosulu, I'm introducing him as the coordinator of the philosophy section in the Department of Language, Linguistics, and Philosophy of UWI Mona campus. Prior to joining UWI in 2019, he was a philosophy lecturer at the Redeemer University in Nigeria for over 8 years. He was also a graduate fellow teaching philosophy courses at the University of Lagos in Nigeria between the years of 2008 and 2011. He had his Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy in 2002, his Master of Arts in Philosophy in 2006, and his PhD, Doctor of Philosophy in 2015, all which are from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. He also obtained his certificate in Sustainable Development Goals and Cultural Transformation from the University of Bergen, Norway in 2015, having won a scholarship, a full riding scholarship that covered all expenses, including tuition, accommodation, and his return ticket. Dr. Omosulo has 22 peer-reviewed scholarly publications in journals and books. He is also the co-author of Introduction to Philosophy and Logic, which was published by the Redeemer University Press in 2014. With Professor John, I am so sorry if I butcher this name, Ishola Bewaji. Thank you. He co-authored Fragmented Identities of Nigeria, Socio-Political and Economic Crises, published by the Lexington Books in 2022. His research interests cover environmental ethics, logic, metaphysics, axiology, philosophy of development, philosophy of law, philosophy of religion, and intercultural philosophy. So please assist me in welcoming Dr. Omosulo.
Good morning, everyone. I wouldn't consider myself as a fortunate lecturer in this hall today because of the two people that spoke before me. They had already touched on vital aspects of my lecture. But because Gandhi is an enigma, Gandhi means many things to many people. I will be using my own understanding of Gandhi to deliver my lecture. So in that way, I will still consider myself a fortunate person. And that takes me to the title of my lecture, The Paradox of Peace and Violence in the Life of Mahatma Gandhi. The idea of this topic came to me 2 weeks ago when I presided over the philosophy section's meeting. We couldn't get somebody to deliver lecture, and today will have been the first time there will not be a lecturer to talk about Gandhi. So I took it upon myself that I will come up with a topic just to cover up, because right now we do not have a shell of India, a shell of Indology and Gandhian studies. So the share is supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now. My initial topic was reinvoking Gandhi's principle. But when the organizers of the event told me about the theme for this year's Gandhi birth celebration, I decided to come up with this topic. Whether I will be able to do justice to the topic, it's a matter of time. The paradox of peace and violence in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. Every country has its own heroes and heroines. In Jamaica, we have Marcus Garvey as our hero, and we have Queen Nanny of the Maroon as our heroine. They lived a life of legacy. But because my focus of lecture is not on these two great people, I will be looking at the life of Mahatma Gandhi in order to bring before you what I have pinpointed as peace, or let me say what I have pinpointed as the paradox of peace and violence in his life. Today is 155th birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, and I want to see him as a visible and invisible celebrant. What exactly do I mean by this? Mahatma Gandhi is not with us right now. We cannot see him physically. So that makes him invisible. But he is also visible because his thoughts and ideas are what we are going to be dwelling on. And I will be exposing to you how powerful the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi are. Who was Gandhi? This question is supposed not to come up at all, because Gandhi is widely known, even though he did not live in my own time, but it's widely known. But we need to know. We need to have a biographic knowledge of the man at the center of my lecture. And that is the reason I have these pictures before you. So, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, permit my pronunciation, is popularly known as Mahatma Gandhi. Many of you may not even have the idea of his real name. His real name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. But if I ask you what is the first name of Gandhi, you are likely not to come up with either of the two names. So he was born on October 2nd, as we are all aware, in 1869. He enjoyed this world right from humble beginning. However, his parents impacted in him the morals of Hindu religion, or the morals of Hinduism. And that is one aspect you should be thinking about. If you are a father, if you are a mother, if you are a prospective husband, if you have your children, what type of ethics, what type of morality are you going to instill on them? On January 30, 1948, the man, Mahatma Gandhi, was tragically murdered. This aspect of his life is not that common. Did you know what it means for the life of a man to cut short through the barrel of the gun? For a man of Mahatma Gandhi to be shot down in a public place, we need to begin to ask ourselves, what type of world did Mahatma Gandhi live? And that takes me to look at key concepts of my topic, which are peace and violence. In other words, I need to do a conceptual clarification of these two concepts. I have brought the images before you to capture peace. The first image is the area view of Dolphin Head Forest Reserve in the northwestern part of Jamaica. And this other picture is the picture of Ocean Rios. Did you see any form of violence in this picture or in these pictures? Did you see any form of violence? I see it as a picture of peace because they appeal to me. I feel comfortable looking at them. I will show you two other pictures now. How will you react to this? This happened on October 7, 2023, when Hamas invaded Israel. And the other one happened when Israel retaliated. Could you say this is about peace or about violence. And that takes me to the philosophical exploration of the concept of peace. Philosophers have engaged this term, this concept, peace, in different ways. In religion, you see peace as the focal point. Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, any religion, Islam, they are all about peace, even though they also have elements of violence in them. The history of Christianity was not that of peace, if you are ready to take your time to investigate, to interrogate that religion. The same thing with Islam. The same thing with any religion that promotes fundamentalism. Plato could be seen as one of the precursors of theory of peace. If you are familiar with his book, The Republic, you will understand how Plato was trying to give the world an idea of a peaceful society, a society where justice would reign. He came up with the concept of ideal state, and ideal state must be a state where there is division. There must be the guardian class, there must be the auxiliary class, and there must be the artisans. The guardian class for Plato must be the rulers of that society. They must be the rulers. The auxiliary must be the soldiers, the protectors of the society. And the artisans must be the producers of food and wealth. However, there will never be peace unless there is harmony, unless these three classes work together in peace. And that takes me to Aristotle. Aristotle also came up with the concept of justice as virtue. And that his definition of justice as virtue occupies a prominent position in the theory of justice today. Justice as virtue. And we can also talk about John Rawls saying that justice is, that is what positive justice is about, an integrative peace. Integrative peace is about worldview. You have the political aspect of your life, you have the economic aspect of your life, the religious aspect, the family aspect, the social aspect, you must be able to collate all of these together to form a comprehensive worldview that will promote peace. Any society that is not ready to harmonize competing issues, that society cannot arrive at peace. I'm saying all of this to create a background for your understanding of my topic, the paradox of peace and violence in the life of Mahatma Gandhi. Violence. We can talk about physical violence, spiritual violence, cultural violence, and economic or financial violence. I think I will start from the last one. Last year, I discovered that a kiosk here at the faculty was moved from a spot to another spot. Who knows the kiosk I'm talking about? Huh? You know about it? Yes. If you go to that spot now, you will discover that the owner of the kiosk is getting more sales than before. I hope you know that a decision can be taken to relocate that kiosk to a very obscure place that would undermine the business of that person. So when a government is churning out policies that can make you to be worse off economically, that government is promoting economic violence. And that takes me to spiritual violence. When a pastor or anybody whatsoever is using someone's strong belief to manipulate his or her life, the person is practicing spiritual violence. They know that you are a strong Christian and they are using your belief as a Christian to manipulate you, to ask you to donate money, to do this, to do that, to disobey your husband, to disagree with your neighbor, to begin to see them as enemies. Is that not a promotion of violence in one sense? And physical violence, we know about it. It is common. And I showed you the picture of Hamas and Israel. And if you look at what is going on, the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, my HOD Dr. Ms. White alluded to it, mentioned it. And cultural violence, maybe because of the way I'm looking now, you may be displeased. And you begin to think about how to attack me. It could happen. Don't say that it can never happen. Some people are very myopic in their decision. So that is cultural violence. With all of this information, I will now take you to the background to Gandhian theory of peace, which is actually the reason I'm here. Every philosopher is a product of his experience and of his culture. There is no way I can philosophize outside my experience. You could see the way I philosophize about that chaos. So Mahatma Gandhi that we have today didn't just come up with the idea of non-violence without his experience. He was in South Africa in 1908, and he came up with a theory, and I will introduce that theory to you. So South Africa played a major role in what we know today as Gandhi's theory of peace. His experience in South Africa, where he witnessed hatred and intolerance. He also witnessed hatred and intolerance in the India of his time, a colonized India. And also the caste system in India. If you were Gandhi, would you have followed the path of peace? With all this experience. Because they used to say that society molds our behavior. There is this perception in Jamaica that somebody from the ghetto, the low class, would always be violent. They would not want to employ them in big corporation. I think I got this information from my colleague, Mr. Mohansin. If I'm quoting you correctly, you may not, I don't know. Yeah, you said so. That some people, once they see, they will deliberately remove their place of residence so that they will not be perceiving them as violent people. Mr. Mohansin is not feeling comfortable. I'm just saying that our experience in the society can make us to be violent because that's what we see almost every time. But look at Mahatma Gandhi, what he did. He saw violence, but he never followed it. And that is one thing we should take note of. I brought these two pictures to explain the distinction, the difference between tolerance and intolerance. If you are a man, a highly committed Christian, and your wife wants to dress like this, what would you say? Will you accept it? That is the way to go? Will you tolerate somebody that dresses like this? Without any reservation, will you welcome the person with your full hands? Think about that. If a man dresses like this as a lady to ask you out, you say that, oh, fine lady, I love you. Could you be my friend? What would be your reaction? Won't you say this is a Taliban? That I'm not. Then look at these pictures, they are gay. So what is your reaction? But I want to say that the University of the West Indies is a university that promotes diversity. There is a policy that we have to tolerate all students. And that is the angle you should also be seeing the University of the West Indies as a university that is promoting peace. If you are tolerant, you are promoting peace. If you allow others to hear their views, you are promoting peace. And that is exactly what Mahatma Gandhi is all about. And for me to now drive home the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, I'm bold to say that I have to turn to the principles that shaped his actions and inactions. As he said, my life is my message. There is no way you can understand the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi because he himself did not come up with a coherent philosophical thought on peace. But if you are a scholar and you are ready to examine his life, you begin to see that Gandhi embodied peace in all ramifications. And that takes me to two important concepts. The Shaggy Affair alluded to it in his presentation. The concept of Savodaya, I may not be pronouncing it correctly, pardon me. I will do better next time. And the concept of Satyagraha. I don't know whether I'm doing the right pronunciation. So, Gandhi coined the term Savodaya from two words, Sava and Hudaya. I'm just saying it in my own convenient way. Sava means all or everything, while Hudaya means uplift. Therefore, Savodaya, the concept of Gandhi, means welfare to all, or the upliftment of all. The all that Gandhi was talking about is all inclusive. The poor, the rich, the physically challenged, whatever your situation, you have found yourself in the society, you must be uplifted. You must not be left behind. And that takes me to the concept of environmental ethics. That for us to have sustainable environment, nobody should be left behind. For us to have peace, there must not be discrimination and nobody should be left behind. So Gandhi relied on Savodaya to visualize a society where welfare of all will not be compromised in any disguise. Which society are we today? What type of a person are you today? Are you someone who is pursuing our own interests without thinking about the interests of others? Yes, as long as I can become a senior lecturer, a professor, and the dean, and what have you, that is all. I don't care again. As long as I have my own apartment, and as long as I have my own house, so be it. I don't care who else is God. I pursue my interests. But Gandhi will never follow that kind of path. He will never follow that path in life. He will tell you that everybody must be helped to succeed. Because he was convinced that peace was incompatible with exploitation, with discrimination, or inequality of wealth. Socialism as a theory is practicing equality of wealth, that everybody, the wealth of the society must be equally distributed. And Gandhi was also in that direction in his theory of peace, Savodaya, that exploitation, discrimination, and uneven distribution of wealth will not bring about peace. Think about this as I move to another concept of Gandhi, which is Satyagraha. So Satyagraha means the firm adherence to the truth. And the term was derived from Sata, which is truth, and Agraha, which is adhere. So Gandhi describes Satyagraha as the relentless pursuit of truth with the method of non-violent action. I decided not to interrogate the concept of ahimsa, because if you look at his concept of Savodaya and Satyagraha, you will see ahimsa, non-violence, in the two theories. There is no way you can understand the two theories, Savodaya and Satyagraha, without seeing ahimsa. So, to affirm the truth, a Satyagrahi must refuse to submit to evil or cooperate with it in any form. Truth is not just a word for Mahatma Gandhi, it's a way of life. You must be ready to stand by truth, to stand for truth in everything you find yourself. In any situation, in any condition you are, you must not even pretend to promote truth. You must promote truth in all ramifications. So Gandhi believed that the greatest of human needs is the need to be released from evil and untruths that are in one's own self and in society. For him, evil or evils are common. The solution to it must also be common. And the solution to evil is non-violence. A man of peace is not someone who is trying to hide anything from his opponent. Gandhi was a philosopher who was also thinking in the public place. He trusted his listeners, his followers. He would dialogue with them. He would always tell them the truth. His next action, he will make it available to them. He will reveal it to them. Because a man of truth will not hide anything from anyone. To achieve peace, you must be able to marry the means to it with the end. So you must not separate the means from the end. There is no way we can bring about peace. There is no way peace can reign in our society if we do not know how to marry the means, if we do not question. If we are separating, oh, you want to be rich, right? And you don't care about how you will get rich. You can engage in corruption in your offices and you want to promote peace. That will not bring about peace in the society. That will not even bring about peace within you. That is what Gandhi is saying. You must be truthful in everything you do. And that takes me to the concept of violence. So Mahatma Gandhi conceived violence as a destructive force with no capacity to eliminate evils from the human mind and the entire world. Violence can never bring about justice, no matter how. So retaliation is not an option. You have to follow the path of peace. So according to Amina Bose, because of the world we are today, we now have more weapons than the time of Gandhi. Gandhi died in 1948. If you look at weapons of mass destruction in our world today, I was even listening to 104.9 FM yesterday, 104.5, the program of Mama B. Those of you that you are familiar with 104.9 FM in Jamaica, Mama B, I normally listen to that program every morning. And she was saying that politicians were not even the ones distributing weapons, guns in Jamaica now. That the dons now found their own way to get weapons. And if we look at it, we begin to see how Gandhi's philosophy is missing in Jamaica. I will come back to that. So for me to now pinpoint the paradox of peace and violence in the life of Mahatma Gandhi, permit me to say that if you look at his birth, you will see that Gandhi was born into a Hindu family, and he was born into a humble beginning. And the same Gandhi gave the world the philosophy of peace. He witnessed hatred, intolerance, discrimination, but he gave us philosophy of peace. He gave birth to philosophy of peace. The paradox now is that that same person left the world through violent action. Is this not paradoxical? I reflected over this before I coined my topic. So the question now is this: who failed Gandhi? Was it his philosophy? Did he not know that he would not be able to stamp out violence in the India of his time? That there could be somebody somewhere that would hate him so much to the extent of taking his life? Should we say that the India of his time also failed him? That the government of his time did not provide enough security in the society such that somebody could move around with gun and use it against Gandhi? Think about this. As a matter of fact, I cannot answer this question myself. The question will continue to provoke me to think. Mahatma Gandhi and Jamaica. Between 1960 and 1980, India experienced brain drain. And the first set of people that left India, they went to the US to create a community. I'm rounding off. To create a community, and they didn't think of coming back. But today, India is experiencing brain gain. experts from abroad are coming back to invest in India. Jamaica is also our country. Many Jamaicans are outside. Do you think Jamaica will experience brain gain? If there is no peace, people will not come back. If the condition that made them to leave did not change, they will not come back. That is why we need to promote peace in Jamaica. In conclusion, I want to say that the future that Mahatma Gandhi was trying to prevent is now our present. Gandhi thought he would be able to use his philosophical mind to give the world a philosophy of peace for all. But today, you hear about war in Haiti, you hear about war in Russia, in Israel, and in almost every part of the world. Violence is almost everywhere. So the enthronement of peace in our world is the imperative of our time. I conclude by saying that in Gandhi's theory of peace, I stand. Thank you for your attention. Questions? Yeah, Mr. Marcy.
Thanks for your presentation, Doc. Well received. I think you have presented a complexion that violence is altogether wrong, which we understand, but is it altogether bad?
Violence is never an option if you follow Gandhi's Gandhian philosophy of peace. Saint Augustine wrote a book, The City of God and the City of Man. He told us that the city of God was a place of peace, and the city of man will continue to be violent. And he went ahead to come up with a defense of violence by saying that a war can be just. But Gandhi said violence must not be permitted, must not even be adopted at any point in time. So, if you look at it from the angle of Gandhi, which I'm committed to, I don't see violence as a solution, and it can never be a right action. Thank you. I don't know whether that answers your question.
I mean, it's debatable because I think violence can be a source or an avenue through which we attain peace.
The question will now be what type of peace? Unsteady peace? What type of peace? Maybe negative peace. It can't be positive peace because there won't be justice. Can violence bring about justice in any way? Although we may begin to ask, what is justice in philosophy? But if you look at it very well, you yourself, you can decide on what justice is. There are so many competing issues that will make you to see that, no, this is just and this is unjust.
Yeah, and if I may, I'm reflecting on the scenario painted with the kiosk that was moved. And I don't know the intention or the motive behind moving. But let's assume that the owner of the kiosk and his family were having financial challenges and there was always violence. And now we can bring peace to the family.
But the decision was not left for the owner of the chaos, I want to believe.
No, but I'm saying, even though it was not intended, the end result could be that it brings peace. And that's why I'm asking, or suggesting that while violence may always be wrong, is it always bad? Because not everything that is wrong is necessarily bad.
I'm going to situate my answer within the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, which is my focus. There is no way you can compel me to begin to see violence in a positive way, because Gandhi will not agree to that. And now that I'm here to present lecture on Mahatma Gandhi, the man of peace, I will not agree with you. Thank you.
I kind of stand with Gandhi as well on the matter of peace, but the bigger question is, where are the voices coming from philosophers when we're talking about wars? Why are philosophers always silent? Is it that we choose to be silent, or is it that we don't see war as something that can be philosophized wrong? We're talking about First World War, Second World War, all those wars. Philosophers, they're virtually silent. So that's what I'm saying. I stand with Gandhi with this kind of philosophy that speaks to nonviolence and peace. But yes, can philosophers have a voice during war?
Philosophers have been offering solutions to conflict, to violence, and philosophers have also made us to understand what
the idea of war, contextually, like
for them to go to the war front and stop the war or what? Because philosophers are idealists, quote and unquote. They offer theories. They look at the world on the basis of their experience, and they offer solutions. They dissect the problem of the society and offer solution in form of theory. So there is no way philosophy will not always be relevant in the society. Whichever affair of the society that you want to talk about, you will see the presence and the relevance of philosophy in it. You can't even go to a war if you don't have an idea of what the world is all about. Well, I think I want to counter myself. I read a book about how Nigerian youths during the colonial era were conscripted into war. And the title of the book was Fighting Another Man's War. They were in India during the Second World War. They participated in the British War. They didn't have any idea of that war, but they used them as tools to counter Hitler. But my point is this: there is no event of war that you will not see a philosophical principle guiding it. And there is no solution to war that you will not see a philosophical principle shaping it. So you as a scholar, as a student of philosophy, it's now left for you to use philosophy appropriately. Thank you. Yeah?
So I'm guessing that Gandhi's main philosophy is pure ethics or nonviolence. But wouldn't one argue that one is driven by a will to peace say that violence in revolutions would be considered still a valid path to achieve some future peace?
For Gandhi, we have no enemies. We have no enemies. We only have opponents. And it is your role as a Satyagrahi to liberate your opponents. Not through violence, but through non-violent action. So if you look at it, that we have no enemies, that will not even make you to be thinking about the misdeeds of anyone. Because your focus will not be on retaliation. So ahimsa as a concept was not even invented or coined by Gandhi. If you look at Hinduism, you will see ahimsa there. The practice of Hinduism, Buddhism, you also see it there. But Gandhi exploited that concept to give the world theory of peace. So you don't have enemy. And if I don't see you as my enemy, how will I be violent towards you? Because violence for Gandhi is a breakdown of critical thinking and communication. If I see you as someone that has offended me, I should go and meet you and communicate and dialogue and discuss my worries with you. And that will make the two of us to reach a common ground. So there is no point for retaliation or revolution. Yeah?
Dr. Musholo, I just came, but I prefaced in my mind the day and the lecture that you would give. And I believe it was a beautiful lecture, even though I did not hear it. But nonetheless, let us move on. The question that I want to focus on is looking at the philosophy of Gandhi and the value of philosophy. How do you fuse both? Because Gandhi has passed on the baton. Now it is for us to articulate and express and manifest what he believed, but in our own way. So how do we merge and fuse Gandhi's idea and make them applicable to us by explaining and expressing the value of philosophy?
Initially, I didn't want to answer your question because you were not truthful. Okay? Gandhi said we should not go against truth in any way. You were not here, but you accepted that my lecture was beautiful. How did you arrive at that?
I know you.
However, for you to practice the ideas of Gandhi, you have to purge yourself, you have to purge your mind of evil. What are you thinking? Are you thinking of how to exploit the weakness of another person or how to display your strength to someone? If you allow your mind to be filled of love, because for Gandhi, love is the law of our nation. Love. So if you promote love, you will see that Gandhi's philosophy will begin to radiate in your actions and inactions. Thank you. Okay, thanks so much for your question. Thanks for your question. I think I will draw your attention back to the period of apartheid in South Africa. The majority was suppressed. The blacks were the majority in South Africa, but they didn't have their way. So what I'm saying, in essence, is that philosophers may not be that many in our world, but that doesn't mean that our voices can be suppressed. We just have to continue to show the world the positive aspect of our discipline, to continue to identify the problems that the world cannot ignore. And if we are offering solutions to them, there's no way philosophy will not continue to be at the front burner in any discourse. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, for the nice lecture.
I'm not a professor.
Doc.
Yeah.
Right. On the Gandhis, the satyagraha and the non-violence, those two main words for him. As a philosopher, after Gandhi or after Nelson Mandela, whom do you see as a world leader who is following those paths?
Wow. What a question. The HOD said that October 2nd had been declared as UNESCO International Day of Non-Violence, and we could begin to see the influence of Gandhi on that. Mandela lived for peace in South Africa. But some of his political opponents would not even see him as a man of peace. They would see him as a betrayer, because they believe he compromised with the apartheid government. So Mandela brought about peace in South Africa through the practice of Ubuntu. You are, or I am because you are. That is the philosophy of Ubuntu. So in a way, we can see that Mandela was for peace, using his own method, different from that of Gandhi. But the two of them, to me, were working towards a common goal, which is to achieve a peaceful world. But the question now is this: is the world now peaceful? Think about that. Thank you. Ha! You guys will not allow me to go?
Okay, so I was wondering, you said that peace, we're talking about words, but would it be violence to having inaction? So if you see slavery going on, right? Is it a violent act to do nothing at all because you cannot fight the slavery because that would go against the principles of peace?
Is it what?
Is the action violence? So you're being blind to what's happening?
To slavery?
Yeah, that's just an example.
Your action and inaction can be morally questioned in ethics. So where you're supposed to speak against evil, as Mahatma Gandhi will tell you, if you are quiet, you should be blamed for that because you didn't follow the path of truth. So inaction can push a doer into the side of immorality. So the fact that you refrain from doing nothing is not enough to say that you are right for not doing anything. So where you know that your inaction will promote justice, go for it. And when you know that your inaction will bring about injustice, do something. That is my response. Thank you. Yeah.
Dr. Mosu,
Yes, sir. Prof?
well, I'm going to speak the truth here. I was there from the start of the lecture. It was a beautiful lecture. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you, Prof.
It is said that religion without philosophy is sentiment, and philosophy without religion is mental speculation. And here we're talking about peace. And let us bring religion and philosophy together. Lord Krishna talking to Arjuna at the battlefield of Kurukshetra said to him, whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standard is set by exemplary act, the whole also. And why did Krishna say that to Arjuna? Because when Krishna told Arjuna to fight his kinsmen and kill them, Arjuna wasn't different. And that was why Krishna gave him that message. And if we look at religion in general, Prophet Muhammad in Islam was involved in violence to bring peace. And if we look in the Bible also, Jesus Christ did the same thing. Violence. Gandhi came thousands of years after Krishna spoke to Arjuna at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And I want to agree with the gentleman who asked the question. Can we bring a total peace without some form of violence? I know you believe so much in that. And when I listen to your lecture, it seems to me as if you have even read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But I'm not very sure if you have read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, because most of the teachings of Gandhi rest in that book. If you haven't read it, and your students, if they haven't, I want to recommend that they read it. But can we bring total peace without some form of violence? Even at home, sometimes we have to fight for things.
Total peace without any form of violence. Wow. I'm being careful here because I know the meaning of making an absolute statement, and that is what is haunting me now. Peace is not an end in itself. It must be seen in actions. Therefore, if we want to achieve peace, we must try to look at the side of justice. What are we trying to achieve through our action? If your action, my action will be violent towards you, can that lead to peace? It will not. So, to me, the philosophy of Gandhi is just there to guide the way we approach peace, the way we want to make peace to manifest in our society. So I will not stand again and begin to say and contradict myself as if Gandhi didn't think through of his position. So Gandhi saw everything regarding violence. And he believed that non-violence is the solution. And the non-violence must come through love. If you have to love someone genuinely, how will you now adopt violent action in order to bring about peace? If you love the world, let's look at it from that angle. If we genuinely love the world, if we genuinely love Jamaica, which peace can we bring about through violence? So Gandhi's philosophy is just to let us know that violence cannot exterminate evils. And if that is the case, then there is no way we can even employ violence as a solution to societal problems or as a solution to your interpersonal relationship with others. So we must always be on the side of peace. That is my response to your question, Prof. I may not capture your expectation, but I think I have responded. Thank you.
Can we then begin to preach what Childbirth said in his statement? Simple living, I think.
Okay. Your points were noted, Prof. I don't know whether Professor Beraji would have anything to say to all this conversation. Professor Beraji? You see, I'm on the hot seat. All right.
There's a popular saying that in order to have peace, you must prepare for war. If somebody who means harm towards you is not afraid of proportionate response on your side, they're going to take advantage of you. And if you look historically at the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, from his time in South Africa and his time in India, you will see that it's very, very similar to that of Jesus Christ. Both of them knew that they could not confront frontally the challenges that they faced. So they took the process of non-violence. Compare that to Prophet Muhammad that was mentioned. Muhammad waged 90-something wars within a state of 6 years. That's not a man of peace. And the Quran advocates that you must give fitina to your opponent. Fitina, if you know what fitina means, is worse than terror. So, as a black person who has suffered so much, I'm not an advocate of peace. You cannot have justice unless you are willing to do the right thing and face frontally your enemy so that he knows that you are not going to die just like a dog on the street, the way they kill Muhammad Gandhi.
Okay.
And look at what is happening in Palestine. How can any philosophy of peace develop with poor Palestinians who have been killed for thousands of years, not just from 1948? So,
Okay, thanks, Prof. The beauty of philosophy is that philosophers must always have their own divergent opinions on any issue. However, the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi can be practiced to achieve peace. And that is how I will raise my lecture today. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Omashulu. I told you this segment promised to be good. We're now going to move to the vote of thanks. Miss Connell is not with us today, but Ms. Lorena Esco will come and do so. And thank you, Ms. Esco, for deputizing for us, especially at this short time.
No problem. Good afternoon, everyone. I am sure we were engaged by this robust discussion today. Me one? No? All right. So, on behalf of the philosophy section of the DLLP, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and everyone for making Mahatma Gandhi Day 2024 a success. Firstly, I would like to express my deep appreciation to Ms. Tika Shimhu, our event chair and philosophy postgraduate student. You did a great job in leading this event and bringing life to it. Thank you for guiding us through the event and the proceedings. To our esteemed head of department, Dr. Vivek Milson White, who was here, right? Your support and leadership has been invaluable. Thank you for your continuous encouragement and belief in the importance of this event and the impact that events like this have on raising awareness of the role that philosophy plays in helping to shape our society. A special thank you to Dr. Cohenberg, even in her absence. She has always and will continue to support every event that the DLLP puts on. We also are deeply grateful for Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Chair of Affairs at the High Commission of India. Your presence here today is a testament to the importance of the India-Jamaica relationship. The Indian community has connected us with Mahatma Gandhi's legacy. It is an honor to have had you here. A big thank you to Ms. Jody Park, our philosophy student, who so eloquently introduced today's guest speaker. Your contribution to this event is much appreciated. Our deepest gratitude goes out to our 2024 Gandhi lecture speaker, Mr. Rotimi. How you doing? Thank you so much. As we know, this was I enjoyed this presentation. I'm not going to say that I expected to, but it was very engaging. Loved it. Thank you. So your insightful reflections and words of wisdom on the theme, the paradox of peace and violence in the life of Mahatma Gandhi, were truly thought-provoking and added immense value to this year's event. And this is very fitting, especially in our Jamaican society, because as you know, we have a violence problem. Almost every day, somebody is killed, to the point that we have become so insensitive to the realities that people are senselessly murdering others. So as such, I hope that we all stand for peace instead of violence, and I speak with that so passionately because I have been affected by murderers in Jamaican society. So please, stand for peace. Special thanks to the Indian Cultural Society in Jamaica, who's always providing delicious refreshments, looking forward to it, to soothe our appetites. Your continuous support over the years has enriched our events, helping us maintain the cultural vibrancy. Without your contributions, this celebration would not have been as culturally enriching as it is today. I would also like to acknowledge the incredible work done behind the scenes by the administrative team of the Department of Language, Linguistics, and Philosophy. Mr. Anthony, Mrs. White, Ms. Mundell, Ms. Shimhu, and Mrs. Dunstan Staple. We could not have organized this event as seamlessly as it is without your tireless efforts. A special thank you to the mates for providing the services that we need for technical assistance and enabling us to reach the online audience. Your work ensured that this event could be shared and appreciated beyond this room. Mr. Mohan Singh, you have been the chief organizer of this event. We thank you so much for all the effort that went into planning this day, and we're still going. We also extend our gratitude to the campus security for their unwavering support. I saw them standing outside, making sure that everybody here is safe. And we thank you so much. Finally, to you, our audience, thank you for being here, and thank you for gracing us with your participation. This event would not have been as fun, as engaging, as vibrant if you guys were not here. Once again, thank you all for honoring the legacy of Gandhi. And I hope that you adapt his principles so that we can live in a world of peace. Have a good day.
finally, a big thank you to everyone for coming. Join us on the outside for some light refreshments.